Danny Reagan is back.
Did you miss me? Boston Blue begins with Danny.
CBS has reached the midway point of the television season with two of its newest crime dramas, Boston Blue and Sheriff Country, now facing defining moments that could determine their futures. With both shows debuting to solid attention, but navigating the challenges of a competitive broadcast landscape, the network is finally prepared to make key decisions about where each freshman series stands, what their prospects look like, and how they fit into CBS's broader strategy for 2025 and beyond. The timing is crucial. Halftime marks the period when networks evaluate ratings stability, audience engagement, and long-term storytelling viability, ultimately deciding which shows will continue, which will be retooled, and which may come to an early end. For Boston Blue, the highly promoted police procedural set in the heart of Massachusetts' historic capital, early momentum has been encouraging. The series launched with a strong pilot fueled by an ensemble cast, brisk writing, and the nostalgic pull of classic CBS crime dramas. The show blends local Boston character with big-stakes investigative stories, giving long-time viewers the familiar week-to-week structure they love, while layering serialized arcs beneath the surface. Its strong L+3 and L+7 viewership gains have helped it carve out a competitive foothold in a crowded time slot, suggesting the audience is showing up even if not always live. CBS insiders have noted that the show's demographic performance among older viewers remains a driving factor in its stability. But they also see potential growth with younger audiences on streaming. Despite positive trends, Boston Blue has faced scrutiny over pacing and narrative depth, with some critics arguing that the series leans too heavily on procedural formula during its first episodes. Yet CBS has historically proven that it values consistency and familiarity, often allowing new dramas a full season to refine their voice. As the network evaluates the show's trajectory, sources suggest that the mid-season decision is likely to be a favorable one, with confidence in the cast chemistry and the production team's ability to elevate the stakes in the back half of the season. Still, the network is aware that nothing can be taken for granted, particularly in the era of streaming fragmentation. For Boston Blue, renewal is within reach, but still dependent on maintaining its ratings and demonstrating stronger digital engagement. Meanwhile, Sheriff Country has taken a different but equally compelling path. The drama, built as a character-driven story, centered around a sharp, complex sheriff navigating crime and politics in a rural Western community. Launched with buzz due to its emotional depth and its lead star's performance, cast in a role that blends authority, vulnerability, and grit, the show's protagonist has already become a fan favorite, giving Sheriff Country a uniquely personal tone that sets it apart from CBS's typically procedural-heavy lineup. However, the series has faced challenges tied to its setting and pacing, with some viewers expecting a more fast-moving narrative than the introspective, slow-burn storytelling the series prefers. While critics have praised the show for taking risks, the network has kept a close eye on its week-to-week ratings, which have fluctuated more than Boston Blue's. CBS executives are reportedly divided on the series' long-term potential. On one hand, Sheriff Country's strong critical reception could make it a prestige asset for the network, especially as broadcast TV tries to balance mass appeal with high-quality character dramas that can compete with streaming offerings. On the other hand, the inconsistent viewership raises questions about whether the show can sustain momentum through a second season without major creative adjustments. The network is also considering whether the show's slower pace aligns with what CBS viewers traditionally gravitate toward. Even so, insiders say the network has not dismissed the possibility of renewal especially given the show's solid performance on Paramount+, where serialized dramas tend to find new life. The first half of the season has given CBS valuable data about how audiences are responding. With a few standout episodes that generated significant online conversation, Sheriff Country has demonstrated potential for audience growth if the show can sharpen its direction in the upcoming episodes. Behind the scenes, both production teams have been working closely with CBS to secure their futures. Meetings in the last month have focused on story arcs, ratings trends, and scheduling considerations for next season. CBS is known for playing a long game with promising dramas. But as networks become more selective with their programming, even shows with strong creative teams must prove they can deliver both immediate and lasting value. The network's mid-season evaluation comes during a transitional period for broadcast television. With competition from streaming at an all-time high, networks are prioritizing shows that can drive live tune-in while also pulling significant delayed and digital numbers. CBS in particular has long relied on crime and character dramas that appeal to wide audiences. This year's freshman lineup reflects that strategy, and the decisions about Boston Blue and Sheriff Country will influence how the network approaches development for next season. Though both shows occupy distinct tonal spaces, one procedural, one character-focused, they share a common challenge, standing out enough to justify a long-term investment. CBS executives remain cautiously optimistic, especially as both series show signs of improving narrative cohesion and audience connection. The back halves of the seasons will be critical. For Boston Blue, the upcoming episodes are expected to intensify long-running mysteries that strengthen the show's serialized hooks. CBS is reportedly pleased with the direction of the next batch of scripts, which are said to push characters into more emotionally charged territory. If the response is positive, the show could cement its status as the network's next long-running crime staple. For Sheriff Country, the next episodes will need to tighten the story, accelerate key reveals, and highlight the emotional payoff of the sheriff's central conflict. There are indications that the writers have already embraced a more focused approach, aiming to strike a balance between the show's atmospheric world-building and the dramatic urgency that CBS viewers expect. Should the show succeed in this balancing act, its renewal prospects could rise sharply. The creative direction of both shows has become a major discussion point among viewers on social media.